Go woke, go broke. That's what we found out was true when it came to kids' content. But now, Disney's Dana Walden, a woman in the mold of Kathleen Kennedy, who is consolidating power under new CEO Josh D'Amaro, well, she's putting new positions and people in those places within the company, tracing back to the woke era. Will they return to woke kids' content? We'll tell you why it's looking that way at the House of Mouses right now. It's a wonderful day, folks. It's a beautiful day, and not because of the content we're going to cover today, but because of the way we're going to cover it with truth, capital T. Folks, as we dive in, consider clicking the like button, drop a comment down below, and join the Pro Nation, where we are uncovering what's going on in the Hollywood halls of Hollyweird every single day. Join us by clicking the subscribe button. All right, folks, we've got an exclusive. Dana Walden is consolidating power under Josh D'Amaro, and she is getting ready to put this company in a place where it can go right back into socio-political stuff aimed at kids' content. Indoctrination, thy name is Dana. Here we've got it from Scott Gustin. It says, Disney is restructuring Disney Entertainment. Under incoming President and Chief Creative Officer Dana Walden, uniting streaming, film, TV, and games, Deborah O'Connell will serve in a new role as chairman of Disney Entertainment Television. Folks, pay attention to that. It matters. Not only who is Debbie, but also this new job she has made just for her as the chairman of Disney Entertainment Television, a brand new role. It didn't exist before. And wouldn't you know it, we've already investigated the thing. Here we go out of that Park Place. Disney already returning to divisive children's social issues with new chairman of Entertainment TV. Let's dive in. Almost forever CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, is stepping down this week, and new leadership is filling in the vacuum. After Wall Street moguls helped guide the company towards picking Josh D'Amaro as his replacement, they also sought to quell possible consternation from Hollywood and ideological creatives by giving Dana Walden, close friend of former Vice President Kamala Harris, total control over everything media. Everything. Now, Walden is making an early move that is likely to worry those same Wall Street investors interested in moderating the company's politics and getting out of divisive kids' content, because we all know what happens when you put divisive stuff into kids' content. You get flops. Enter Deborah O'Connell. O'Connell, ladies and gentlemen, is a longtime senior executive at the Walt Disney Company with nearly 3 decades of experience, primarily in television operations, sales, news, and entertainment networks. If you'd like to see the full list, the resume, we got it over at thatparkplace.com. Just go click on the article and read all about it. But surely, after all the accolades, Deborah O'Connell must be quite the person to be elevated to a brand new position, created just under Dana, right? After all, she's now overseeing all of Disney's news division, original television, gaming, streaming. Well, no, she's not got gaming, but Dana does, and is essentially in charge of all media content, not theatrical or gaming. Well, what if we told you that O'Connell is also someone who, according to her LinkedIn profile, has partnered in the past with Glisten and Glad, both in campaigns regarding children. In particular, pushing this Safe Schools Improvement Act, which many believe is a Trojan horse for making women's sports be very different. Now, folks, we do not get into bedroom issues when it comes to grown-ups and adults. But from the business side of things, when you put this kind of stuff into kids' content, we've seen what happens. We know the gulf between Inside Out 2 and Lightyear or Strange World. We know how little these things make when they have this kind of content in it. And even Disney has gone away from it. But the person being put in charge of all of TV and media and streaming under Dana Walden is somebody who has an extensive list of giving and partnering with these kinds of organizations. And if it was just these kinds of organizations when it comes to grown-ups, that would be one thing, but it's not. It's kids' content yet again. And so I have a theory about this panel. I believe that Disney is waiting for the winds of electoral power to change. They're waiting on institutional power to shift, and then they're right back in it again. I believe they are just on a semi-hiatus. They're just hibernating on this stuff, and Dana is ready to go back full force. By the way, Dana also, and this woman, run ABC News. So Debbie and Dana now run ABC News, and you know they're going to be pushing this kind of content through that area as well. All right, panel, I hand it over to you. This is an exclusive we're reporting on now. We've looked into this lady, and you never know what people privately believe. I don't want to make the assumption and find out later, well, it was her management team, and they did all the investing for her in the charities, and they did the partnerships. She really doesn't have anything to do with this. Maybe that's the case. But if you look at her LinkedIn page, it is filled with political partnerings that are definitely leaning in a singular way. Panel,
Just looking at that, yeah.
Well, back a few years ago. No, a few years ago, and so every now and then I'll bring it up. I started a channel called Everything Woke, and the intention of that channel was an agreement with my wife that I would stop ranting at people about Disney. And it would come through as a long list, and she would say, "You're not supposed to bring this up at parties anymore." And I said, "No, they brought it up, actually." She says, "You heard what you wanted to hear." So I created this channel with a specific intent of showing incontrovertibly, this is the kind of stuff that is in children's content from the Disney company and a few other places as well. It happened that Proud Family got a big spotlight on it at the same time. So first video out of the gate got 20,000, which was a shocker to me. But the purpose of that channel was to expose to people that Disney is not the company that it used to be. That purpose pretty much became a moot point because everybody knew it at some point. Everybody knows that Disney just went hard in the paint for all this stuff, all those rainbow colors, which a rainbow with brown and light blue and pink in it isn't exactly a rainbow. This is a company that really wants to go back to what it used to do, but they have financial restrictions on them currently from doing that. I think if they thought they could get away with it, if they thought they could capture the audience fully, they would go right back to the same weird content like what you displayed on screen from the article of male makeup influencer.
Remember, this is This is from the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. And again, I don't care what grown-ups want to watch. I don't care what grown-ups want to do. I don't care.
This never made it into an episode, but I'm just going to say this. This fella right here, there's a scene where somebody goes into a darkened area of an aquarium, and this guy is sitting next to the other character, by the way, middle school aged character. The two of them are sitting and enjoying what some would describe as a nice time by themselves in a quiet place. So that brooming allegation isn't going away as long as this content remains on Disney's platform. We see you. We know what you're up to.
Let's not forget, what's the name of the giant puffy white robot?
Oh, Baymax. Yeah.
Baymax,
go check out Everything Woke About Baymax over on the Everything Woke About channel.
Yeah, Baymax with a masculine sounding voice goes into a middle school restroom, not for boys, but for girls, and forcibly provides assistance when it comes to feminine hygiene products.
Yeah, or that there's a character in the end of that is seen to, if you're following the beats of the story, the fella's allergic to being straight in the end of the series. This is a show that is specifically aimed at 5-year-olds if you follow Disney's content guidelines. So also a dude that is in the tampon aisle talking about his favorite brand of tampons and the ones that he uses.
Right. So now the person, ironically, a new role has been created, a new job. This didn't exist before. There's a new job that's been created under Dana Walden that controls all of entertainment when it comes to TV, streaming. I mean, this person is in charge of all Hulu originals, all Disney Plus originals, is in charge of ABC News, The View, Jimmy Kimmel, everything that's on ABC. Like, she's in charge of it. And she is someone who, on the LinkedIn page, anybody can go look at this, partnered up with Glisten and Glad when it comes to kids stuff. And I just think here we go again. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think if Disney gets the inkling they can move over, I think they will. If they'll go right back to their old ways. And I also think that this is a consolidation of power under Dana Walden that should be a threat to Josh tomorrow, because it's starting to look like Dana's in charge of everything except for parks and cruise lines. I don't know what it is that Josh tomorrow is going to do. Dana Walden is the most powerful person right now in the hierarchy of Disney, with Josh tomorrow serving as the umbrella over it. But she's got all the power. And
she's also got all the connections and all the relations in Hollywood and in politics. So to me, it looks like she has just I think ultimately the people who rule are the people behind the scenes. They're probably very happy to see the two of them go against each other, keep them at their feet. And still, as CEO of Disney, you don't get to decide everything, but you get to put your stamp on it. And Dana Walden, from everything we have ever heard, both you guys and what we've heard from our sources, she's a true believer.
Well, she's
an example of the inmates running the asylum who has now gotten a position of power, and she absolutely wants to bring back wokeness because it is her ideology.
Right. Well, she failed in doing what she needed to do with the presidential elections on ABC, and we thought that might be the end of her, but they've given her so much power. And Carol, we've talked about in the past on the channel that if Josh D'Amaro had any sense, he would try to mitigate the damage that she could do and kind of silo her where she doesn't have, so much power. But now that this leadership structure has come out, Dana Walden has more power than anybody inside Disney, it seems to me. And she really is someone who again, she's a true believer in all this stuff, and she's putting people in power under her who are true believers in all this stuff. I think it'll wipe out the kids' content if they go there again.
I actually agree with that. Like, as you were reading it, all I could think of was like, thanks. I hate it. I hate it a lot. Because not to talk too much about myself, but I actually started a little tiny indie publishing company called Little Lantern Comics because, again, not to talk too much about myself, but last year I was diagnosed with cancer. And so through the cancer journey, when I was laying in the hospital after they did the removal surgery, there were some people that were very kind enough to donate to my Give, Send, Go. And so I said I was going to donate back to the people in some shape or form. And so what I wanted to do was make a really big difference. And so I'm partnered up actually with a charity. It's called Comic Books for Kids. They're stationed out in Chicago. And what they do is they put content into the hands of children who are in hospitals and cancer centers. And when I was talking to the CEO and founder, he actually expressed to me how hard it is to find good kid content because of everything that we're talking about right now. And so what we're doing is we're actually going to make kid content, because if these people can't figure out what kids actually need when they're in dark places like that, then it comes to us to make it, right? And so as I'm looking through this individual's very colorful resume, we'll call it that, it just makes me think that this person is only listening to people that like to wear bright colors in June. And if that's the company that you want to keep, that's cool, but that's not your target audience. These aren't the people that are going to support you. And it's not what kids need. And way back when I used to be a teacher and we were talking about what was allowed to be into the school library, we were very picky. Like, it had to go through a board and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then when I started hearing about like all the weird books that were coming into like the schools, like completely boggled my mind, like just craziness. And if she does what I think we're suspecting she's going to do, she's not just going to kill it, but she's going to kill the trust that parents used to have in this IP even further. And then, like, I hate saying this, but like these kinds of discussions that they're trying to push on children aren't actually mentally healthy, and parents need to be involved. When you're trying to subvert parents, you've got a bad time on your horizon. So
that's exactly right. And I want to congratulate you and applaud you too for taking a very difficult journey and turning that into a huge victory that you're now sharing with other people, in terms of you've taken something that can be just so difficult on a person and so stressful, and you've transmogrified that now into providing love to kids. I mean, that's an amazing way to take something difficult and to turn it around. And what a joy to see you doing that. Here's what this Safe Schools Improvement Act is that's under GLSEN, that is part of this partnership, I suppose. It says GLSEN in particular touts its Safe Schools Improvement Act as the signature legislation. And remember, this is what's touted about in the LinkedIn profile while she's at Disney. So this is something she was doing for Disney, I guess, is trying to have it turned into law. The legislation is often seen as a Trojan horse effort to codify into federal grant money the requirement that children of all biological backgrounds be able to play in any sport they wish, effectively destroying women's sports. And here's this from the congressional record of this legislation.
As a boxer, I take exception to that. I don't want a man in my ring. He can f off. Excuse my language.
A state that receives a grant under this title shall require all local educational agencies in the state to carry out the following. 1, establish policies that prevent and prohibit conduct, including bullying and harassment. So nobody wants bullying, right? Nobody wants harassment. Here's what it defines it as. Limits a student's ability to participate in or benefit from a program or activity of a public school or local educational agency. In other words, if you're not allowed as a boy to go in and enter the boxing ring for your school-sanctioned sport, right, then that's considered bullying and harassment because you're not being allowed to express your gender as you see it. This is the danger.
You're setting me off now. What about the girls that have to deal with this, right? Like,
Carol,
they don't care about them.
Carol, think about a senior boy. You're talking about sometimes an 18-year-old, sometimes a 19-year-old, a senior in high school boy versus a freshman girl in the boxing ring. And
yeah,
this
I'm not a fan.
is what they don't think about.
I'd get fired so fast if I was still a coach. I'd be like, absolutely not. Like, I would be in the news standing up for my kids, because if you guys ever go look at like the MMA sports and stuff like that, where it's the males versus the females, the girls are just absolutely demoralized and destroyed. Like, I lost it during the Olympic boxing match with the dude that was fighting the chicks. And then the Olympics were kind of like, oh, we have evidence. And it's like, show me the evidence. And it was like, oh, well, it's not actually evidence. It's like...
I, for one, did not want to see the evidence. I'll just tell you, I was good.
There was that line on the One Piece live action show on Netflix where they actually talked about the biological differences between men and women, especially when it comes to combat. Where what was the line? A girl can beat a boy, but a woman can't beat a man.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely true. Because when I was in the military, I keep talking about things I've done. I apologize.
But when I
lived experience is what we call that.
Yeah, but when I was in the military, like I wanted to do my dad's job, and my dad's job in the military was an on-site engineer for the Payville helicopter. I couldn't do it for two reasons. One, they were retiring the Payville helicopter. I was really upset about that. For those of you who don't know what kind of helicopter that is, it's the helicopter that you see in the first Transformers movie that comes in and like drops all the boom, 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 right? I absolutely love those birds. And I wanted to do that, but they were going to retire it. And then the other reason was that you can't do those jobs because of the situations in which those aircraft are utilized in. And I was like, what do you mean? It was like, well, there's two reasons. One, can you pick that guy up and carry him? And I was like, no, I definitely cannot do that. Like, even if I trained, I'd probably struggle for like 10 feet, right? And then the other reason is because, and nobody really cares to hear about this, but when it's crunch time and fire's coming out, there's an instinct that men have where it's like, I have to protect the woman. So they're compromising everything because they're trying to protect the one female that's on the unit, right? And so it's like, for the safety of the mission, we don't let women into this. And some women take an exception to this. And I'm always like, please get over yourself. It's not about you. It's really not.
Sure.
That's a phenomenal point.
So this is where we are, folks. Dana Walden consolidating power, getting huge amounts of power. And I truly believe that the only reason that Wall Street put her there is because they were going to lose a lot of Holly Weirds, the Jimmy Kimmels and all that crowd, if she wasn't allowed to be in a position of power. But she is just taking over underneath Josh D'Amaro. Tom, a lot of our viewers have said in the past, Josh D'Amaro need to be careful. I don't think that's happening. I think he's walking into a bad situation with her, and I think she'll take him out eventually.
I think you're probably right.
You think she likes turtles?
Maybe.
She better.
But can I interest Caro in a children's book called Nunchuckosaurus about a T-Rex?
You can.
He tries to do nunchuck, but he can't because his arms are so short.
That's adorable. Yes, you can.
Nunchuckosaurus. I love that.
Beautiful.
There's a moral to it. He fixes it. Don't worry.
Hey, Tom, could you maybe teach Josh D'Amaro about Nunchuckosaurus? He may need it to defend himself in the C-suite real soon.
Biggest hit Disney will ever have.
Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the video. Remember, this Wednesday is the Disney Shareholders Meeting. Coverage live on the Pro Channel begins at 10 a.m. this Wednesday. Also, friends, if you'd like to join us for MegaCon, we'll have a booth set up for you to join. Info on the screen. Come see Marvin, Lorne, and maybe one more at MegaCon, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Friday. We'll see you. Thanks for being here. You're the Gigawatts.